Well, serial killer Todd Kohlhepp was back in court today. This is a look at video as he arrived to the Spartanburg County Detention Center from his jail cell. We can tell you this was in regards to the wrongful death lawsuit filed by two of his victims' families. Kohlhepp was sentenced to life in prison after pleading guilty to 7 murders. He killed Beverly Guy, Scott Ponder, Brian Lucas, and Chris Sherber at Superbike Motorsports back in 2003. Later, he killed Johnny and Megan Coxey and Charlie Carver. And today, Carver's parents and Ponder's widow and son took the stand. Fox Carolina's Brooklyn Cromer, she has been following this story since 2006. She's live outside the courtroom in Brooklyn. Did Kohlhepp have anything to say to these folks in court?
Well, he stayed pretty quiet throughout most of the hearing until the very end. He motioned for Carver's attorney to walk over to him, so he then whispered a message into his ear. Now, we couldn't hear what he said, but after the hearing, I talked to Carver's dad, and he said he just wanted to let them know he was sorry for what he did to his son.
An emotional day in court for two families brought together in the midst of tragedy. The families of Charlie David Carver and Scott Ponder coming face to face with the person who took it all away.
I'm sorry that the events that led to such a gruesome day had to happen at all, because there was always a better way to deal with things.
Said that he's sorry for what he did to David. I could see it in his face that he truly was.
It's been a rough road to forgiveness, but Joanne Shiflett says she's almost there, addressing Kohlhepp in court earlier.
I forgive him. I'm not fully there yet, but I don't hate you.
Shiflett's son, Charlie David Carver, was one of Todd Kohlhepp's 7 victims. After taking the stand, she pours her heart out to her son's convicted killer.
I just miss him so much.
She tells him she feels sorry for him for throwing his own life away.
Just a waste of his life. I mean, he could have done anything that he wanted to do without doing what he did. It just seems like all of a waste.
Carver's dad agrees, but says he still has questions before he can move on.
You know, I'd actually like to have a conversation with him. Face to face, nobody around, just face to face. There's only 3 people that know exactly what happened. And the one I trust the most is my son, and he can't answer those questions right now.
And coming up in the next hour, I'm talking to the family of Scott Ponder, who was killed at Superbike Motorsports. Hear what his 15-year-old son had to say to his dad's convicted killer, coming up at 5. Cody, back to you.
So, Brooklyn, also taking the stand today was Melissa Brackman. Now, her husband, Scotty Ponder, and mother-in-law, Beverly Guy, were both killed in Superbike. What did she have to say?
She was very emotional, but she said she has been just waiting for this day for 15 years, or over 15 years at this point. But she says that she forgives Kohlhepp for what he did, and she even apologized to him. We'll have more from her and her son coming up at 5. Cody, back to you.
All right, Brooklyn, thanks so much. We just mentioned Brackman brought a speech she had prepared ahead of time. She talked about how losing her husband changed her life forever. Todd Kohlhepp told investigators he was motivated to carry out the quadruple homicide because he'd been a customer at the store and felt the staff had made fun of him. Today, Scotty Ponder's widow looked his killer in the eyes and surprisingly apologized.
I want to formally apologize to you, Mr. Kohlhepp, for whatever Scott or Brian said to you or did to you while you were doing business with them. I'm sorry that the events that led to such a gruesome day had to happen at all, because there was always a better way to deal with things than taking the lives of individuals who make us mad. Mr. Kohlhepp, I forgive you.
Today's hearing stemmed from 2 civil lawsuits, as I mentioned earlier, filed by Melissa Brackman and the parents of Charlie Carver. The judge did not issue a ruling during today's hearing.